that MEC will give his feedback, and then we'll take questions. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you. Yeah, so we have a couple of employees that had infection with the COVID-19. So I'll start by the first case that was known in this operation. It was a lady. She didn't have any other symptoms that are typical of COVID. And then she saw a private doctor who then, as a policy for admission, then did a test. It came out positive. And then we followed up with the principles of public health, which is once you have a positive case, then you, in this case, she was already in hospital, and then we followed up with the contacts. There were 9. And then came the second case, which was a minor who, at the time of the detection, he was actually going for renewal of his certificate of fitness. Upon being examined by the health team, they suspected that this gentleman could be a COVID case. They also whisked him away. Then he was tested, and then the COVID test result became positive. Following that, there were 3 crews that were working with this minor, and then a total of 45 employees that were related to this were also contacted, and then they were all put in quarantine. And then the third case was the mine overseer that also worked with this minor. He was at the same time, asymptomatic, but upon learning about the colleague that has tested positive, then he contacted his own private doctor. And then we further then identified about 55 employees who had contact with this mine overseer, and then we put them in quarantine and tested all of them. The time it was around 105 that were tested, and we further looked again around as we were learning from this, and then we tested further 15. So the total results that we have out of the 120 was about 50 to 55 initially that came to our attention that actually the PCR was detecting the COVID virus. We then further had 2 additional employees who had symptoms, but they were seen by private GPs as well, and the GPs made us aware that these individuals who were tested and the COVID-19 was detected. So all in all, we've got a total of 57 that have been screened and confirmed to be COVID infected. All of them, those that have tested positive, they are in isolation as we speak. The rest who were negative, they are in quarantine. As you know, we're following the National Institute of Communicable Diseases guideline that the 14 days must be observed. Because if the virus is not detected at the time of testing, we still don't know. But the principle is that we keep them in quarantine facilities for the duration of about 14 days from the day we think they got infected. So all these employees that we're talking about that never saw the medical guys before, I'm talking about the contacts, they were all asymptomatic at the time of testing. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Over to you, MEC.
Okay. Having having received the news of the number of workers who have tested positive in Sibanye, Kegelani shaft, in the province, you will now conclude that the highest number of employees, mine workers, testing positive, it's here with 57 of them. The next one would be Harmony Gold Mine in Matosana. As I got in here, they had 18. If people of the province understand and check how quick our numbers are growing, it tells you that the serious exposure we are getting, it's from the mining industry. Up until a week ago, we had never had more than 10 people at one time. The first time we had in 24 hours more than 10 cases, it's when they are coming from the mining industry. Of course, it's historical. It has many people. There's many people. So here, what we have is that the first thing that must be strengthened, and we explained this to DMR because we were with them, and said that it's a responsibility of DMR and the Department of Health to find a way of a contact of all the mines in the province between now and Monday, so that anyone who's bringing workers back on full complement must disclose where are those workers coming from, so that if they are by any chance coming from any declared hotspot nationally, they should be candidates for quarantine. Finish their quarantine, post-quarantine, then they must start the issue of being prepared to go into work. Because the reality you have here is that all these 5 who are the first ones were at work first. All 5 of them were at work first. And work was normal. The general assumption of the system is that it negates the fact that there's asymptomatic people in COVID-19. And the second problem is that our people, not only mine workers, have now crammed how to answer screening. They say no as a basis to avoid being candidates for testing. And that then transports the exposure to the workplace like it has happened here. So the mining industry must strengthen the recall procedures so that people who are recalled are known where are they, and as they are recalled, they also know their comorbidities, and as they are recalled, they also know their exposure rate, so that in your list of people who come in, none of them are declared by the procedures as being a high risk category. Having done that, we must still say, let me repeat myself, no mine will ever not comply on a rule that is written, on how the rule is explained, But each time you want to get a mine, you must go to the implementation of the rule. Most of the mines who have confirmed cases are found wanting on a process when you have a person testing positive. All other steps from there until you test positive, they are procedural, except this element that must be added of knowing where are the people coming from. And the problem is that you can't blame a mine. You must also blame mine workers themselves for not disclosing where are they coming from. It's not only mine workers. Generally, community members hide information on COVID-19 screening. All of them. Workers and community members. The element that the company and the Department of Health have agreed must strengthen. It's first, contact tracing. Because in a mine, contacts are not only the mine workers in the crew, because most of them may not stay in the hostel. But even if they stay in the hostel, then hostel colleagues become contacts. So in the element of contacts, it must be strengthened so that it talks to contacts of the workplace, talk the contacts of residents, and talk to the contacts of a labor sending area. Because mining has a language of a hosting community and a labor sending. So it must be the workplace, hosting community, and the labor sending to have totality of contacts of mine workers. Secondly, the issue of prescribed quarantine. We must improve on that. Because generally, when you go to a mine, you are told, not only here, you are told, please, let's tell you where is our quarantine. In most instances, you discover that the decision to have that area as quarantine was taken outside of the approval. Yet quarantines are inspected and approved by Department of Public Works and Department of Health. So in that instance, we then get quarantine sites that are not compliant. Very few of the mines have quarantine sites that are compliant. Thirdly, it's the issue of isolation. Remember, there are people who are not candidates for admission in a hospital, but they need to be isolated to prevent further transmission whilst they are termed as persons under investigation. In most instances, isolation areas themselves are not suitable for isolation. So in this instance, the work the Department of Health must do as agreed with Sibanye. It's the issue of starting at the time you identify. Secondly, at the time you decide to do contact tracing. Thirdly, isolation and quarantine. But the first leg must be knowing exactly where are the people that Sibanye is bringing to the workplace coming from. This is what we said DMR and Department of Health must do to all the mines, so that it's not only Sibanye. It will help us on preparedness to accept the workers, because we know where are they coming from. And based on knowledge, we could easily deduce the exposure of them even before they go to work. It will not help us to have people cleared to go underground, and all of them like these ones get everything when already they are in the workplace. That therefore means it is going to plunge the mining industry into a risk. Everyone who wants mines closed is going to use that argument, because the exposure and transmission is directly in the workplace. Yet, screening and understanding them should be before they go to the workplace. All of them must be honest, declaring where they are coming from, including declaring and answering properly in terms of questions. We now have a new challenge in the province. I don't know in other areas, of people who do not tell reality on screening and therefore they are cleared. They don't become candidates for testing. In that instance, we will then detect them later when everything has been done. Other than that, this is a very problematic appearance, and it's going to plunge us into a very serious crisis very soon. I can tell you, if in a week we get these numbers, we are going to degenerate closer to what is happening to every area that is an epicenter. We are going to be a late epicenter, having performed very well on the numbers before. Immediately, when mining is in operation, our numbers are disintegrating and going very high. We will be a late epicenter, and we must stop that so that it does not become an element where we are unable to control response, because we can't control people who are coming in. We have said to them, if isolation and understanding of people as to where are they, quarantine, and contact tracing is not improved, surely we will have a problem with them getting 100%. Not only with them, we will have a problem with the mining industry being allowed to bring 100% when they can't able to categorize areas the extra 50 is going to come from. Because it's proven that it's not numbers. If you get reality, Harmony in Gladstone, it's 50%, it's 5,000. They have 18. Tembelane shaft, it's 50%, it's 1,600. They have 57. Impala we went to yesterday, it's 50%. It's 21,500, yet they have 6 cases. This tells you it's not about the number of people in the workplace, it's about ability to detect them as they come in, so that you isolate those few and let others in. That's what readiness must mean in the industry, because 100% here would be 3,000. 100% in Impala would be 41,000. But the numbers are highly different. Yet the people who are back, so we must not count bodies. We must count detecting capacity to then decide earlier to isolate and quarantine. This is what is going to make us succeed. It's a very problematic situation, but one issue that I'm saying, let's know in the province as to how many people are positive. Whether the number grows, it will be better to know, so that we then develop a preparedness strategy. We can't plan that it's going to be low, and yet the mining industry has told us that there's many more in the industry than as we have expected. 57 from one company is more than any other district. There's no district alone here that has 57. Yet you get 57 in one company. It's a problem we must attend to. The industry, Department of Health, and Department of Mineral Resources, including Mineral Council, we must address to the gaps. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. In the interest of time, I'm going to allow one set of questions. Mr. Weston, do you want to say anything?
Ik had ook gezegd dat space.
No.
Space.
Okay, who's going to say?
Okay,